Shattering Red, Chapter 21. Change. The next morning, they decided to pack up and move, not wanting to find out if Aphthonia would send officials after them. Vita strapped on Faust's compass and pulled out his map to examine. The whole world was before them, and they had no set path. "Where do you want to go?" Vita asked Luck, who was just strapping the last items onto Petunia's back. "Depends on where we can make it. Looking at our food, I'd say we have a week's worth of supplies until we really have to worry." "Where does that take us?" They combed over Faust's tidy penmanship. There were 3 towns close enough that they thought they could make it. "I guess there are more questions to be answered. What are we planning to do with this great escape?" That was something they had both not considered. With everything packed, they got up on the chrome horse's back and took a minute to think about what they wanted to do with their lives. "Do you want to travel a bit and then go back to Aphthonia?" she asked him, unsure of what she wanted out of life, but happy to be away from the deliberation of the people. "I'm not too fussy, but I struggle to think of life outside technology. I think things would get boring pretty quick. We can't get back to Interim, and I only know of one other place that has Entomo. That's on the other side of this continent." He jabbed the map at what looked like a very swampy area that stuck out like an arm into the ocean. "That's where I got Aunt's journal." Speaking of journals, she pulled Faust's out from her pocket and leafed through it to a page that supplied the name of a town at the base of a volcano. "Faust spent some time here. It sounds like a really lovely place. Or it was a few decades ago. Maybe we could check it out?" "What was he doing over there?" Luck asked, genuinely interested in why a person would choose to stay near a volcano. "It seems like there was an issue with the Entomo system. Power outages were happening, and that place has a source that helped to fix the problem," Vita supplied back. She had read the journal through multiple times at this point. It made her feel like she knew her adoptive father so much better than she ever had. It explained most of his paranoia, but it didn't replace him. She wondered if following one of his old paths would put her more at ease. "Hold on." Luck pulled out his tomo and rifled through the messages. "I was doing some poking around and some official stuff while we were stuck." He paused, and Vita gave him a sidelong glance. "What?" "I don't do well bored. And there was some juicy stuff tucked away that might play to our advantage." He cleared his throat as he found what he was looking for, and dictated. "We've been having problems with the network losing power in the last month. We've redirected attention or made excuses, but no one here knows why the power is shutting down. It's almost as if the system that is supposed to recharge through solar properties is no longer recharging, but nothing is documented on the subject." He disclosed, then reached into another pocket and pulled out Aunt's journal. He flipped through the old pages, staying towards the front, until he found the page he wanted. Luck turned it towards her, exposing a diagram of what truly powered the Entomo network. "It's uranium," Luck said, which was shown by the neatly penned plans. "I guess that's a different type of green energy." Vita rolled her eyes at how Enentimos had manipulated the people with very weak wordplay. Had they known it was a nuclear form of energy, the people of Aphthonia would never have signed up so willingly. "And where would we be today without his tech?" Luck asked coolly. Vita didn't linger on the thought too long. Faust's notebook mentioned something about bringing rocks back. "Do you think it's a uranium mine?" She fuddled with the page that had the information. "Could be. It could also be a way for us to win some respect back with the citizens if we wanted to come back to the mess we created." He nudged her encouragingly. There was a tug on her heart that made her hopeful about this venture. "Why not, then?" She stuck her chin out confidently and checked the compass to make sure they were angled in the right direction they wanted to go, tucking the map away securely. "Let's go!" Luck pushed the controls forward, and they tromped on the edge of the forest, observing the fast-moving coastline. Vita pulled out the stone that had mysteriously plopped onto their table the day before. It felt warm to the touch, which surprised her. She had not been able to rationalize its appearance, and that scared her a bit more than she wanted to admit. It changed the way she thought about the world. Luck glanced behind his shoulder to see her contemplating the stone. "You know," he said calmly, "my mother had a deity for almost every object in the house. I do not think it's so strange that your sister watches over you. Do you think your mother and brother watch over you?" she asked, still feeling unsettled by even having the conversation. "Absolutely," he said, as if he knew it was a stone-hard fact. "Sometimes I see a shadow of my mother. She checks up on me." Luck nodded as if he needed reassurance. "In fact, she pointed you out to me the night we met, as if you were something precious I could not lose." His eyebrows raised up high with that admission, but his face was turned, so she could not see. They rode in silence for a moment. "This kind of thinking goes against what I've always thought. I've always laughed other forces off, but I'm having a really hard time disputing this," she stated, and her mind got stuck, going in too many directions. They traveled up the coast, seeing all sorts of strange and wild animals that only muddled her mind more. They stopped for a few breaks, and before long, the sky turned to magnificent shades of pink, to dark purple, then brightened with the light of the galaxy. They stopped in a forest clearing, choosing a peaceful place to camp. The sound of bugs and nightbirds chirped around them, and Luck offered her an arm to help her off Petunia's back. The thoughts of the day had become so loud, Vita found one of the nonsense lines escape from her. "It's so strange that we continue with the day-to-day minutiae when we don't understand anything going on around us," she blurted. "What are you trying to say?" Luck laughed back. "For all we know, we are parasitic microbes sitting in the testes of some being so large that we cannot even comprehend it. Our world could be nothing more than the size of a petri dish, and we could be something's cancer just waiting to mutate out of control. And yet we continue. It's so strange." Vita stomped a foot and crossed her arms like it would change what she knew. Vita smiled and kissed her forehead. "And we could just as easily be something's saving grace." He brought her into a warm embrace and hummed before affirming, "What we do know is that we all need to eat and sleep and do all the little things required for us to move forward. And if we are part of a bigger creature, they must be doing the same thing to survive, right?" That thought stopped all of her extraneous thoughts. We are just part of a circle, like they would be. All we can do is our best within our circle, right? Luck added matter-of-factly. He pushed the bottom on the cube that housed them, and their tent unfurled, lighting up cheerfully with all the amenities they could ask for. He opened the flap and bowed to her dramatically. "I've found, personally, it's best not to overthink these things. Just do what you think is right." It was so simple, a statement that she had nothing to add. And moments later, she found a remote control being pressed into her hand. "How about we eat some snacks, play some games, and forget about all the larger things?" His smile was so warm and inviting, and his logic so sound, she joined him on the couch. Soon they were yelling and shouting like kids over nothing but the fun in front of them, enjoying a moment just to be. This is the end of Shattering Red. Thanks so much for listening. If you've liked it so far, please let me know. If you have not liked it so far, please let me know. If you have feelings that you just want to discuss, please let me know, because it's not exactly a quiet book. I will include a link to the book below. I will also include a link to my Kofi, in case you do not want to buy the book, but would like to support me anyway. Thanks so much. I hope you guys take care.